Sex and drugs, man. I wanted to do a video on this because there is a huge correlation between stimulant drugs such as crystal meth, cocaine, and sex. There is. And they don't know necessarily what the correlation between the two is. They know it has to do with dopamine. Even when it comes to like stimulants such as Adderall and stuff for ADHD, that has the side effect that it can really put you in the mood and that you want to do it. And I can say this as a Coke addict, one of the biggest combinations that I did was mixing alcohol, Viagra, and Coke because I constantly wanted to have sex. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. And the weirdest part was I wanted to have sex with everybody but my wife. And I did. Like I ended up remembering the first time that I hooked up with her cousin, and she was working for me as a lot porter, and it was like the day of my birthday or day after my birthday, and she was drunk and she's telling me how horny she is. I'm drunk as all hell, and I'm thinking like this is a trap. And I end up hooking up with her. I end up, going to a dealership, running that. I'm hooking up with the receptionist. I was hooking up with everybody but my wife because I wanted to hook up with people that used. And that was the whole thing is I wanted to hook up, but if I hooked up with my wife didn't drink like I did. She didn't do drugs like I did. Amber didn't do any of this. Instead, I didn't have any respect for our marriage. I had no right being married. I should have been more of a man than what I was and just got divorced, but I wasn't a man. I was an addict and I was just a piece of crap, and I hurt a lot of people. But ultimately, the thing is that this having sex while I was high filled this like hole, because when you're constantly getting high and you're constantly using, there is like this emptiness that starts to kind of drift in, and sex kind of off balances that. Sex is almost this thing that you can focus on. You get to enjoy the euphoria a little bit more. It shifts your focus. It does help produce a little bit of natural dopamine. So it's something that draws us to it because it does make us feel good. It makes the crash a little bit lighter. And if you're going to do it, you want to do it with people that are doing the same thing as you. I mean, I would get drunk all the time with like my wife's cousin, and we would park in parking lots, and we would have sex in the back of my truck nonstop. And we would have sex in the parking lot for hours. I would get hotel rooms with the receptionist, and we would just have sex in there for hours. And I would hook up with salespeople, and they were all people that I used with. I would do either Coke with them, I would be drinking with them, or I would do both with them. And it was just part of that process. I wanted that to help fill this hole. And that's the sad part about it. I mean, that's how sick we are as an addict, is that our focus shifts to different things. And people who are addicts will tell you, we have this other addiction that we're going to mix in with everything else that we're doing, whether it's gambling, whether it is women, whatever it might be, strip clubs. For me, it was sex. But I've met a lot of people that it was also gambling. And it's this weird thing that it helps us with this high, just take that high to the next level and almost not crash as hard. And that's where I really think that the correlation between the two is that we're avoiding this crash, and we're self-medicating almost to ride out this high as long as we can. Because when you're high and that feeling starts to leave you, it's like this hole starts to open up in your chest, this depression starts to open up in your chest. And man, next thing you know, you're doing and scrambling whatever you can to make this good feeling last. And that's the scary part about it, is you don't care. You're so selfish, so self-absorbed that you just want to almost make the crash lessen, and you're not doing anything with like somebody that you love or you should love or you're married to, because they're not using and getting messed up the way that you do. And that's how we are as addicts. We live two separate lives, and that's the scary part about it. I mean, hit the like and follow button, comment your experiences down below or what else you've mixed into it, because that's what's important, I think, for families to understand of addicts, to understand that we as addicts literally have two separate lives. It's very scary how our lives are very separate. What we do to prevent these crashes and the things that we are doing that are risky that we're bringing into our family. And for the one that is an addict, knowing that, hey, you're not alone in this, but trust me, dude, life gets a lot better. Life is amazingly better. And it's amazing what happens when you want life to be better. And that's the thing that is amazing when it comes to sobriety, is that I would not trade my sobriety for anything now. The life that I have now is so much more open, free, loving, just easier than what the life was as an addict. It was a life of deceit and lies and exhaustion. I mean, it was exhausting to be an addict. Where living a life that you're not is amazing in so many aspects, in so many ways. And if you're trying to get sober, find what works for you, man. I got links down below to NA and AA, sometimes inpatient rehab work, sometimes outpatient therapy, therapists. Find your way, because we all get sober different ways. I even have links down below to BAMF Recovery that are supplements that will help you through the recovery process, because you don't have to take on recovery alone. And withdrawals don't have to suck as bad as they normally do. So find your way, don't give up, and just know that it is worth it one day at a time. And for the ones going through it, man, I'm proud of you. Don't give up.